I was talking about my most recent book, Science Set Free, which in Britain is called The Science Delusion, in which I look at the 10 dogmas of modern science, the 10 assumptions that science is based on, which are not facts but assumptions. One of them is the idea that the mind is nothing but the activity of the brain. It's all inside the head. Another one is that the laws of nature are fixed, and I would say they're more like habits. So I was looking at these dogmas, looking at them in the light of scientific discoveries by science itself, and showing that these assumptions are not valid, and that if we abandon these assumptions, move on from them, and they were all set down in science between the 17th and the 19th century, science has outgrown these assumptions, and yet it's still locked into this kind of materialist worldview, that science can move on, and all sorts of new questions and new research becomes possible. Well, scientific fundamentalists don't like this position, and a lot of militant atheists have linked their atheism to a kind of scientific fundamentalism. Materialism isn't for them a set of assumptions or a worldview or a belief system, it's the truth. So they think other people have beliefs, but they know the truth. And some of them were deeply offended by my TED talk and protested to TED that they'd given a platform to me for pseudoscience, and that I was accusing some scientists of being dogmatic, and this was so totally untrue. Science wasn't dogmatic, it was totally open-minded and finding out the truth. And they got so angry about me saying that science was dogmatic, they insisted on TED removing this from their main website.
And they actually did it.
And TED actually did it. They were frightened by them because they thought these people claimed to speak with the authority of science. The science delusion is the belief that science already understands the nature of reality in principle, leaving only the details to be filled in. This is a very widespread belief in our society. It's the kind of belief system of people who say, I don't believe in God, I believe in science. It's a belief system which has now been spread to the entire world.
So TED is supposed to be ideas worth sharing. Isn't that their logline? Now, what is shouldn't in a modern society with open information available online, shouldn't people be allowed to make up their own minds, survey the evidence for themselves and decide what is true?
Most people have been bullied by people who claim to speak in the name of science, who pull rank on them and say, we know and you don't. I think they were bullied into doing this. And it was a major mistake. It has done great damage to their brand. I think they recognize that now. One has to see that in any process of paradigm change, arguments and controversy is inevitable. You can't change the paradigm without people seeing how the arguments played out. And in the case of TED, the people who are defending standard scientific materialism put up extraordinarily weak arguments. They were basically appealing to authority, their authority, and indulging in a kind of verbal abuse, ad hominem attacks on me and on Graham Hancock.